And we're live. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'll just do a little bit of chatter before we get some people coming in, because that's always takes a while for people to go, oh, they're live. I've got a message to say I'm live. It's really funny because on Facebook it goes to me, Walking with My Goddess is live, as I'm like, as though I don't know. I would know if I was live, but just in case I've had a really bad night and I can't remember who I am, it does tell me. So. And I've shared it on a couple of posts. I'm live now. Here we are. We're live. Oh, someone's watching us. Who's that someone, I wonder? Oh, it's Naomi.
Oh, hello.
It's our beloved hedgehog. She of cheese gifting. Did you see the cheese?
I did see the cheese.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
For those of you who are thinking, what the hell are they on about? My friend Naomi, who will quietly sit in the background and probably won't comment, and she, because I've been poorly, she sent me this present, and it was 7 truckles of cheddar cheese, and it was the best present I've ever had in my life. Honestly, it is the best present. No one can top this cheese that I was just like, oh my God, look at all this cheese. There's just so much cheese, and it's lovely.
But the photos you posted, you were like so gleeful, and you had all the cheeses next to you and this big face. Yeah. So me and Naomi were like, oh my goodness, it's the anticipation of cheese. And we thought that sounded like a prog rock band.
Anticipation of cheese. Yeah, we'll have to tell Kev and Tone, see if they know about the anticipation of cheese.
I reckon Tone's met them. You know? He probably waited for them.
Yeah, he probably did, and Kev can probably play their tunes. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I won't do I usually do a weather. For some reason, I look out the window and tell you what it's like, but I've got my curtains drawn because the sun is coming in from there, and I look completely sort of half, all you can see is this gleam at the end of my nose. So I shan't. But today my guest is my lovely friend, Laura Fulton. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Claire.
And she is in her fabulous she shed, which I think we all have a little bit of she shed envy, painted by herself and her daughter, and it's rather groovy, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, it was our lockdown project in the summer.
It's so lovely. Yes, I think everybody is super jealous of the she shed. Morning, my favourite 2 people. Oh, good morning, Naomi. See, we were right. It was her lurking in the background. Morning, our favourite hedgehog. That's my nickname.
Hi, Naomi.
If you send the hedgehogs that are all prickly and then you feed it food and they suddenly go like that, that's not sure if that's me or Naomi, but anyway, there you go. So Laura, thank you for joining me today. Now Laura is yes, you're very welcome. Laura is going to talk to us today about yoga. She's not going to stretch us or bend us. I'm out of stretching and bending for the time being. But she's going to talk about it. So Laura, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Laura. Before a long time ago, I had normal jobs. It was 9 to 5:30 in an office, and I've been through the route of trying to do something that I felt was fulfilling and for the benefit of everybody. And I was into charity work for a long time, but I became quite disillusioned with that for a number of reasons. And I sort of plodded through general office jobs, looking at my watch sort of from 9 o'clock in the morning onwards, you know, thinking, oh, I'm wasting my time, because there's nothing wrong with an office job, absolutely not. But if you're not into it, like any job, if you're not passionate about it, it can feel like something's missing. And that's how I
torture, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, it's not right for everybody. Some people thrive in that, but it wasn't me. And then when I sort of got disillusioned with the work I was actually doing, it felt like I was a paper monkey, just wasting my time.
A paper monkey.
Yeah.
Neen's watching, and we know that Neen would say, yes, I'm not a paper monkey. She's morning, Neen. She's definitely not an officey person. She's definitely someone for out and about.
Yeah.
So am I. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And then I was blessed in 2004 with twins, and I was like, brilliant. And because childcare was an issue, and my take-home pay with childcare and twins would have been about £4 a week, I thought, right, I'll be a stay-at-home mum. And I was so fulfilled, and I can honestly say that they were the most idyllic, sunny-filled memories I have are with my children in that time. and now they're 16. And when they left primary, there was a big gap in my life where, although they were dependent on me, they kind of didn't need me in the same way that they did. And I started noticing this sort of like mild niggle in my soul, just saying, okay, what are you going to do now? And that niggled away for a long time. And I had real sort of crises of confidence and knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And of course, you know, the children need you, and you know, I'm still in my primary role as mum and everything, but there was that niggle saying, you know, they're going to get older, and then you won't have that role anymore. And the niggle started to become a sort of, I don't know, haunting. Like it was always in the background. And I went through a variety of jobs where I was sort of getting back into the workplace environment, and the jobs I had were okay, but they didn't fill that hole in my soul, sort of, so to speak. And I actually, the last 2 proper jobs I had were really toxic. They were toxic, horrible jobs, horrible bosses, really bitchy people. And I think that was the universe's way of saying, just listen to what I'm saying. You are not right for this. This does not suit you. It doesn't suit what you want to do with your life. And I think the toxicity was getting worse and worse and worse. And it was the universe was going, come on, just stop doing this. And it got to a point where it was really making my mental health suffer. And I'm very fortunate that I was in a position where I was in a nice part-time job that I could tolerate. I work at a lovely cafe part-time, and that enabled me to pursue other avenues. So that's what I did.
That's what you did. And I completely understand about finding that the universe is giving you a shove. And I'd got to the point where work had affected my mental health, and I wasn't happy, and things had changed. And as much as I loved the people I worked for, as in my clients, and as much as I loved that, it was, and a lot of the people I work with are absolutely amazing. Ning's watching, and working with her, and it was an absolute gift. But there were still things pushing down on me and pressures that I was thinking, and things kept happening. Morning, beautiful ladies, Ning says, right on cue. As things were happening, I was thinking, I can't put up with this much longer. And I do think it's the way of, rather than thinking, why is this happening to me? It's interesting you say that I kept thinking, I'm getting a push here, I'm getting a shove. So I was talking to Jen last night about, you know, when the universe gave me that final push and I went, right, I'm going to go now, I'm going to jump, you know, and set up on my own. And it was terrifying doing my own thing. But at the same time, you're responding to a call from deep within. Now that sounds a little bit woo on a Sunday morning, but I was, and I love what I do now. I'm completely happy with it, and you know, it's something that I think, I was kind of meant to do. Whether I'm meant to do it forever, but I'm definitely responding to a call of something deeper than just pay packet and what I want to do. Yeah. You know, I was saying to my mum this week that I earn about, if I'm lucky, 2/3 what I used to earn, but it's okay. I'm actually happier for earning less. Does that make sense? Because I'm responding to, I'm answering to a different call. And I mean, Janine she's watching, lovely name, she will know exactly what I mean, because we've had a conversation about that many a time. But anyway, we wandered off there slightly. Not all about me.
It's so true. And I think we all go through a position in our lives sometimes where we come to a crossroads.
Yeah.
And we've been shoved to that crossroad, because I wasn't hearing it. I was just going into another job. Will it be better? And I wasn't listening to this inner thing. But at the same time, this inner thing was going, well, what is it? What do you want to do? And I was, I don't know what I want to do. It's all very well saying me I need to leave this toxic environment, but I don't know what do
I need to do. So how did you, were you already doing yoga, or how did you find yoga?
Well, I worked in this particularly horrible place for a really toxic person, And I'd just been on, I don't know, just yoga popped into my head as something I'd done before. Very, very brief flirtation with yoga at university.
Flirtation with yoga? And Laura, who's saucy minx.
But I had a more meaningful relationship at university with Lager. So, so that went by the wayside. But just something in my head went, oh, try yoga. And at the time, well, she's still popular. There's a lovely YouTuber called Yoga with Adrian.
Oh,
so
yes. Yes.
I'm going to just give that a go. And she had this really nice yoga for beginners. And so I was like, right, I'm going to try this. And I really enjoyed it. It was just 20 minutes and there was no pressure. And also I wasn't financially able to do a yoga class, you know, because you think what's like £40 a month if you do one a week. And I couldn't do that. So I thought, well, I'll just do it online and see where it takes me. And then I found myself just going back to it every day. And you know how like a dog gets when they don't go for a walk and they get all annoying? I was like that when I wasn't going to the yoga. And it wasn't just because I was moving about so much. I think it was the opportunity just to say, right, this is my half hour. I'm going to do something for myself. And the breathing. And I didn't. And I noticed like I was just enjoying it just for its own sake. And I kept doing it and I thought, do you know what, I'm really enjoying this. And then I looked at my own situation and I thought, I wonder how many other people there are who maybe can't afford to go to a £10 class every week, maybe twice a week. They are slightly put off with the, and it's probably my own prejudices, probably slightly unfounded, not completely unfounded, where you have lots of really body beautiful types.
I think you're probably barking up the right tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I was put off going to, I used to do a lot of Pilates. I kind of sort of thought, I'll give it a go. And one of the things that had been putting me off was the thought of all these sleek, skinny women doing these moves effortlessly. And me with the grace and, you know, elan of a rhino, sort of trying to cock a leg, looking like a complete idiot. And actually, I was not the biggest lady by any stretch of the imagination, nor was I the windiest lady, which was another factor that I thought, well, you know, but it was the thought of, good morning, Peter, my lovely friend Peter. He's an ex-colleague as well, who was one of the joys of working there. He was an absolute delight to work with. But I think it is the professionals who they pop in and they sort of, I'm such my yoga class, and they're sort of, you know, lovely people, but they can, when they say, right, we're going to do a such and such, they're there, and you're still going, right, what?
Yeah,
because I'm not very coordinated. I'm not a great good dancer. I'm not putting myself down. I'm not. How my daughter is such a good dancer, that comes from my mum, because my mum can dance. I'm a bit, you know.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm
not coordinated. Yeah, that's just me trying to get to the bar for last orders, you know. But you know, if you were to, it takes me a long time to learn the basic routines.
Yes.
And I think that put me off by the, like you said, the body beautifuls and the professionals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very
no,
much.
you're not, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think you're absolutely right.
And I think, like, I can't pick up dance moves. Like, I've tried going dancing and doing proper technique, like tango or whatever. I cannot pick up the movement. And that, like you say, that puts you off. You think, well, I'm putting my hand in the wrong place and so on. But so I just thought, well, what can I bring? If I ever thought about teaching, what could I bring that would make it different? And so that's then it suddenly came to me, well, this is what you can do. And I've always had this, like, sort of like, if I'm not helping people, like, what is the point? Like, you know, like, so like my job in a cafe, I like it because especially in lockdown, people come in for takeaways, and they come in just for a little bit of human interaction. They've got a coffee machine at home they could use, but
they want to see a cheery, smiley face. Naomi's just said about the clicky Stepford wives, and I think that sums it up. Definitely, Naomi. But yeah, it is, and it's about, that's when what you do and what you provide and what you give out and get back from that giving out, that is more important than that, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, because I've had a relatively well-paid job before, a long time ago.
Yeah, same as.
But like I was going into work, looking at the watch. Oh, it's only 9:05. I think, oh my goodness. And so it's like you said, it's not just about the money. The money, you know, we are so privileged to be able to say that, you know. But to me, there was always an element of, well, how can this work for people? How can I make people's lives better? And I think in yoga, there aren't many classes out there that are affordable for normal people, and I thought there's a real gap in the market here for people like me, maybe single parents or people who don't earn a lot of money, just because I don't know, some people do earn a lot of money, but some people who don't. And I don't think it's fair that people who don't earn enough money don't get to do these amazing things. So I thought, well, I'd have to figure out a way to, obviously I couldn't do it for nothing, but build into my business plan a way that I could welcome people who'd never been able to do these classes before into it in a certain way. And so then from there, my mind was ticking, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to train to be a yoga teacher. And I was really fortunate to be able to do that. I do count my blessings, and, you know, I really do.
So you've done that, and I have done some of Laura's classes, and they are amazing. And it's really interesting, because I was just writing down to say that the challenges of being a yoga teacher, because obviously yours are online. And I know when I spoke to you, good morning, Jade, said to you before that they're very clear on how you do it, and because you can't see us, that was a particular challenge for you. But for a beginner who's going right arm up, and I watch you, and sometimes you're this way and I'm the other way and what have you. Morning, Katie. And it doesn't matter at all, because no one can see me. And they can see me, it's on Zoom, but everyone's trying to work out what they're doing, and you know, I don't feel like an idiot when I do it, because I'm not very coordinated at all. But I suppose having to meet the challenge of doing it online, the way you describe it is you've had to really think about, because when we're lying on the floor, we can't see you, so we need to hear what you're saying, and you have mastered that very well. So that's a skill that online yoga has brought of description that might not be there in a class. So
I mean, I can see my participants. I'm watching you all the time, just to make sure that everybody's, you know, doing it in a safe way. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to bring to my classes, bringing yoga to people who might never have done yoga before, or had a flirtation with it in the past but were put off. So welcome them back to yoga, and do it in a safe and gradual way, because I don't know that you know what a downward dog is. I don't know that you know what tabletop is, and to make that assumption is puzzling for the participant, but it also can be dangerous, because if they're trying to mimic what I'm doing without any guidance, then that's not safe. So
which is not the same as watching a DVD or a video, because you think you're doing it, or at least you can see. Talking of assumptions, I'm assuming everybody knows what yoga is. So what is yoga? I'll pay you for a one-to-one, Brave. Naomi's up for yoga. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, there'll be macho swearing involved in that one. I'm sure there will.
I don't swear.
So obviously most of you know what yoga is. What is it technically, officially? I mean, to me, it's breathing, and it's slow, gentle movement, and it's connecting with my inner self and possibly spirit. That's my kind of schema of it. So over to the professional. What is yoga? Wow. Where does it come from? How did it start?
What does it want?
What does it want from you?
Well, yoga is a Sanskrit word, and it means union. The word yoke, it comes from the word yoke, like meaning union, to join two things together. So that's where we get the word yoke from, I guess. But union, it means union, and it's a way of joining your mind and your body and your spirit together in order to attain a state of complete calm, bliss, and we might use the word nirvana or samadhi, or higher state of consciousness.
Okay. Which is what I said in layman's terms.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wasn't a bad guesstimate.
It's a way to quieten the chitter chatter of the mind so that we can just be. Like there's a state between, the everyday stuff that your mind is saying to you, and then there's your true self. And if you strip away the chitter chatter, you come to a place of complete oneness, and that's what the aspiration is. And this state of union between the mind and body and the subconscious and the spirituality is a way of connecting your essential self with the universe. And there's like a sort of metaphor that you are a drop of water in the ocean that is the universe. So the ocean is within you, and you are part of the universe. So it's kind of like the universe is already in you, but to realize that, you have to stop the chitter chatter of your mind. And when you realize that the ocean is part of you and you are part of the ocean, then that's that sort of like spiritual consciousness.
Oneness.
Yeah, absolutely. So yoga is a way to quieten down this chitter chatter. And you do it through lots of different things. Originally, yoga was, there's a saying in Sanskrit, chitti chat, I'm going to get it wrong now, chitta vritti nirodha, and that means cessation of the impulse to worry. So that is what yoga is all about. And the way to do that is through meditation. And meditation is a way to calm the mind, to just come to that quiet place within, so that you're able to just become one with the universe. But yoga in its traditional sense, if you are meditating for hours or however long you need to do it, you need to be able to sit still. And sitting still is incredibly hard.
I'm not good at sitting still.
So the yoga postures were developed in order that the body would be flexible and strong enough to maintain a state which would allow meditation. And the posture you hold in meditation traditionally is you're sitting upright with your shoulders sort of melting down your back. Your hands are just on your knees and you're comfortable. Your gaze is forward and your crown of your head is facing the sky, and the bottom of your spine at your root is grounded. And you have this nice upright spine, sort of maintaining the natural curves of your body. And to sit like that is really difficult for a long time. So yoga was originally manifest.
It's like a training, isn't it, as well, to be able to maintain that position, to obtain that bliss.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is difficult. It really is. Like, I'm moving around.
It's not easy.
And so that's why it was done. So that's why it was done. And so yoga originates like 5,000 years ago in a place called the Indus Valley.
That's Indian, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where
River Indus. Hindu. That's the River Indus, isn't it?
Word. Yeah. And then it was colonized by Aryan invaders, and they brought a written language of Sanskrit, and they blended the knowledge that they had in the Indus Valley with the Sanskrit, and they wrote it all down in these texts called the Vedas. Yeah. And then people were disseminating this, only people who could read were disseminating this information. And then this guy called Patanjali, he was like this really sort of like, well, university educated, scholar, but I can't think of an equivalent in this day and age. But
an academic.
Yeah, an academic. And he went around, he collated all this information, and he wrote the Yoga Sutras. And it was just complete all the knowledge from all of the parts where people practice yoga were in these yoga sutras, and the sutras are there so that you can achieve your inner peace through mindful living. And one of the sutras is something called yamas, and that is your interaction with people. And in yoga, in my yoga classes, what I want to do is really connect with the traditional teachings of yoga and give you all the cool postures that are going to help you with your mobility.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in the Yoga Sutras. And one of the yamas is the yama called ahimsa, which means do not steal. Sorry, ahimsa is non-violence. That's right, non-violence. Yeah. So you might think like non-violence is, you know, don't hit people, but it's also about
Start.
Like, yeah, it's also about not being violent to yourself. Like,
did you say ahimsa?
Ahimsa, ahimsa.
Okay.
And like you think about all the self-critical thoughts you have in a day, you know, if you try and apply the Yoga Sutra ahimsa to that, like what are you actually gaining from going, oh, I'm no good at this, or oh, I'm watching too much telly? Just, you know,
you're just compounding negativity with negativity, aren't you?
Absolutely. And that knowledge has been around for millennia, you know. And
I was just thinking that you say 5,000 years ago in the Indus Valley, people had worked out the connection between physical health, mental health, and communing with spirits, the beloveds, the deities, the universe, whatever it is. 5,000 years ago, and we lost it all to. Oh, Naomi's saying, do you not effing know me at all? yeah, and I think I'm finding the right place to learn. Oh, and Mark's watching as well. Good morning, Mark. He's in the other room. He's literally in bed beyond this wall. Oh no, beyond that wall, I think. I don't know. Yes. Well, I know where I am. I'm just pointing the wrong. That's my coordination. I'm crap at reversing too. But the fact that people knew, and I don't think it's any wonder that it's because they had such a simple lifestyle. They had, you know, getting their food, keeping warm, staying alive. They didn't necessarily worry about, they may have had to work to obtain that, as in grow their crops, go and catch their food or what have you, but they didn't worry about all the things, whether they were fat, skinny, pretty or not, or whether they'd got grey hair, or, you know, whether their teeth were crooked. They couldn't give them monkeys. They cared that they were alive. And that's 5,000 years ago. They so had it right. And obviously, I'm not saying that antibiotics and, you know, lighting isn't a bad thing. I'm not, but isn't it strange how it's sort of learned so long ago, lost, and now being because it's flourished again, has more last century. But I mean, I don't know how people were doing yoga in the UK and America.
But it has a sort of renaissance in the 20th century, and also in the 19th century with you know, the British Empire going over to India, and you know.
Oh, I love that idea. All these people with their parasols. I'm just going to do my downward dog, Mildred. Are you joining me?
But they were beginning to see that was something that was maybe beneficial or helpful or just exotic. But in the 20th century, people were bringing it over more and more, especially in America in the 1950s. And then you had like George Harrison from the Beatles.
Yes,
he was thinking, "Ooh, this is something that might be beneficial." Is, you know, it's not just, you know, doing a lovely back bend. It's actually trying to meditate for the yoga's purest intentions from a meditation.
And of course, with Empire as well. I mean, this is slightly off the track. Oh, good morning, Naomi, my lovely neighbour. She is Naomi next door, Naomi Evans next door. She's known as Naomi next door to the cats. She is my lovely neighbour, and she feeds cats like a wizard. She looks after my cats when I'm not here, which has been a lot lately. So thank you, Naomi. And lovely Sue Perrett is watching as well, who did the Reiki talk the other week.
Lovely.
So, hello. So it's also the normal everyday people would possibly have brought that back. I don't know how much they would have been exposed to, but for example, my dad's gran lived in India because she was married to a military man, not an top military man, naval man actually. He was part of the Navy, and we had people born on the boat to and from India, kind of thing. But she cooked curry. She came back to Chatham, obviously Chatham Dockyards, and cooked curries, and she was the only person in her street that cooked curries because she'd lived in India and been taught how to cook a curry.
Lovely.
So my dad hates curry. Absolutely loathes it. But they would have had, so if the common people are cooking a curry, they must also have started perhaps picking up little tips then as well. I mean, obviously my great nan didn't do yoga as far as I know. But it's hello gnomes, but maybe she could. Maybe she had heard of yoga. So that's how little things infiltrate back, isn't it, as well? So it's slightly off the beaten track. It's curry, not yoga, that sounds awfully stereotypical, but it's not. It's just saying culture from another place can start to introduce itself. I don't know what I'm doing this is. That's culture introducing itself. Into other places. And just a simple example of how, although it was like the days of the Raj and empirical, little beauties of it did come back into everyday life. So back to yoga. Sorry, this isn't a genealogy conversation today. I could do genealogy another time, couldn't I? So tell us a bit. You've explained how yoga works, and that's something that I hadn't really thought about. I knew it was to do with mind, but I thought it was more to do with the subtlety of the body, which I guess it is, to enable you to commune with the mind. So if you've got a complete beginner, which you have had many a time, how do you start? I mean, you don't expect people to bend over and flex into the split straight away. You can do the splits now, can't you?
I am this far off.
My daughter used to do that. She used to do it up the door frame. She used to slide her leg up the door frame.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm 45, so I need to practice.
Yeah, she was 15 at the time. So what sort of positions? I mean, lots of the positions are animal positions, which I find quite funny. Is that because that would have been inspired, do you think, by the animals they saw and their stretches? Because animals do stretch. I was thinking about this. And I posted something yesterday. Because they're like downward dog, the cat when you hunch your back up, and they are inspired by a lot of animals, and is that where the inspiration is from?
I think so. I mean, you would have, if you would have, downward dog, you know how dogs stretch out and they put their paws out, and when they want to play, they stick their bums in the air and they put their paws down. So that is an easy one. You can see where that came from.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are a little bit okay. What?
Yeah. I mean, what's the cow one? That's
the cow one is okay. So I'll do it from the side.
Oh, okay.
You can do it seated. So I can do it. I'm not getting down. But cow is you put you angle, you really on the inhale. So you're inhaling up like that, and you're arching. I don't know if you can see, but I've got an arch in my spine. Yeah. I'm looking forwards and away, and I'm sticking out my shoulders and my chest, and my bottom is tucked. And then you partner that with cat. So you round your spine like an angry cat, and you tuck your chin to your chest and tuck your tailbone in. So those are the cow and cat. That's your sort of classic pose and counter pose for the flexion and extension of your spine. I don't know why that looks like a cow with your back like that and you're sticking your head up. I don't think that looks like a cow to me. I can see the cat. Maybe. I can see the cat rounded spine when cats
and the downward dog
look big. Yeah, and the downward dog. But there's one called eagle arms. So you do that. How is that an eagle? I don't get that. I don't know. So that's eagle arms.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a creative process. Maybe I'm not privy to. I don't know.
Wondering about the shamanic.
Yeah, maybe.
The shamanic intent, especially 5,000 years ago, if people were, wow, that's completely off piste, isn't it? But if people were communing,
yes,
if you think First Nation Americans, they all have names of running bear, black hawk, whatever, based on animals that they saw for inspiration. And I know, I'm just wondering if, because obviously they're a very ancient race that are still alive, if that makes sense, that haven't been, thankfully, haven't been enveloped into. I'm just wondering, because they had the animals were around for them to see, whether that was because that was shamanic, wasn't it, with the First Nations? Wonder if
I wonder if it's the essence of the animal rather than the physical manifestation of the animal. So in some yoga positions, the way you put your body in your hands creates channels a particular type of energy. So in the eagle arms, you are channeling the eagle, not by what it looks like, but by maybe its precision of its beak, or the way that it
an
tucks,
angle, or a spinal movement, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, they obviously haven't had as much morphine as me. So what are the benefits of yoga?
Wow. Well,
where should we start?
Well, in my experience, what happened to me was I started from like just doing a bit of yoga in my shed with Yoga with Adrian, and it became more than that for me. It became a way of relaxing. It became a way of just taking time out from the everyday. And then I started to feel more open to things, more confident. Like I'm not a shy girl. Like I'm quite a confident person anyway, but the confidence that I experienced was more like, you know what, you can do something, you can be empowered, rather than just being like settling for what I have, thinking, well, what else is out there? You don't have to do it, but have a look, see what else is out there. So it sounds really silly, but as I was making my body more flexible and opening up my body with the various postures, I was also opening up my mind for new things to come in. And so the yoga for me was a way of opening up possibilities and a way for me to express myself, to find out what I really wanted to do. So it started off as just something to take my mind off my horrible job. Then it went to something was like, hey, I'm getting a really good bar here. And then it was like, oh, wow, I feel like something shifted inside me spiritually. And this is my path I want to go down. And this is how I can help people. And then it was a whole new way of thinking. So I think yoga can do that for people. You know, you can use it to do whatever you want, whether it's just for mobility or keeping yourself mobile as you get older, or whether it's for time out, just that breathing aspect, that meditative aspect. And then suddenly it becomes a way of opening up possibilities. And I think there is a real connection when you open up your body, when you make yourself more supple, your way of inviting in possibility.
It's very exploratory, isn't it? It's very, like you say, opening up the mind and being open to possibilities of things that you hadn't dreamt of before. And as much as you are relatively confident, I think our confidence all gets dimmed. It's back. If you look at it as like a shiny vase, or a shiny metal canister, it's got dull over the years, it's got dented, it's been dropped from a great height sometimes, it's sometimes been empty, sometimes it's been full of shit. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't always been treasured and polished and burnished and made beautiful and shiny. And we forget that we are these shiny, beautiful beings. And sometimes we need that chance to reconnect with ourselves and re-love ourselves. What's Neen saying? She's saying, I did Kundalini yoga for a while. Physically amazing results, but the spiritual side is off the scale. I can honestly say it woke me up, and everything that Laura said. So that's Neen, you know Neen, don't you?
Oh yeah, and lovely.
Yeah, she's so lovely. And that's true. I mean, I did Pilates for a bit, which isn't obviously is a newer thing, but for me the thing I enjoyed about that was the breathing, like you said earlier on, and the time to yourself for that hour, just to focus on how often do we focus on our breathing and our body? We're always, and I'm so guilty of it, from rushing from here to there. Right, I've got in from work. Right, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Right, okay, get dinner on. Right, okay, feed the cats. Right, I'll get that washing. Right, I've got to write this. I've got to do that. And it's quite often only when I go to bed that I actually sit down or lay down and think, right, and I get myself comfy, and I get myself where I focus on my breathing, and I automatically now, when I do go to bed, sort of slow my breathing down and listen to it. I mean, if I don't meditate, and obviously I do some meditation, I'm calling in the goddess and whatnot, and in that moment, in those moments, I'm still, but I'm not a very still person. Like, I'm forever rushing around, and I think that's, I wouldn't otherwise sit still if I didn't have to. I wouldn't sit still. I've got ants in my pants, as my dad would say. So so obviously it's got to be good for your body. It's got to be strengthening, even though you're not doing hugely complicated positions and stretches. It's got to be good for muscle tone and breathing. It's got to be good for blood pressure and heart issues, all those things. So what sort of physical benefits, like not medical benefits, but sort of physical benefits are there?
Well, people think about their body in different parts, and yoga brings the whole body into sort of like, you think of it in a holistic way. So in my classes, I do yoga for beginners. So I'm very mindful that people are all coming from different places. They've had different experiences, different levels of fitness, different anatomies, physiologies, injuries, all that sort of stuff. So I start from the assumption that I talk people through the postures from like the very, very first level. So in terms of, there's a pose called mountain pose, where you're just standing up. But if you think about how you stand up, more often than not, you're not going to be maximizing the natural curves of your back. You might be slouching or leaning to one side. So in my beginner's class, I would say, okay, mountain pose, Tadasana. You have your feet facing forward, your hips facing forwards, okay? And your gaze is forward and your chin is parallel to the ground, or it can be a little bit tucked. And then I say, we're not Lego people. Our spines aren't straight, okay? You've got 4 natural curves in your back. So rather than standing up like a soldier, which is kind of painful, you just relax into it. So you're upright, but you're not ramrod straight, and just visualize the natural curves of your back. And then just bring your shoulders down, let them melt down your back, and then concentrate on your feet. So sometimes in yoga, they'll say the 4 corners of your feet. So it's the, like on your bottom of your foot, they say 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think that makes any sense. So I say concentrate on your foot as a tripod. Okay. So you put in all your weight, most of your weight into your feet, and then 2 there. And if you are standing at the best stance for you, at your full potential of the mountain pose, you'll actually be able to lift your toes off the ground, which means you're totally connected to the ground. And
which we've done, haven't we?
Yeah.
I've done with you. It's more difficult than it sounds too, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's just standing up and looking forwards. But when you're doing that, you're engaging your thigh muscles at the front. Your hips are in good alignment now, so there's no slouching, and your back is comfortable, so you're not putting any pressure on your lower back. And sometimes we get so caught up in like the 21st century living, we find like we're a bit sort of like stressed, and you just let your shoulders come down, and that has a physiological effect as well. So you haven't got that tension in your shoulders anymore, which means that you'll have reduced tension going down your back, which means you'll have less pressure on your spine. So tiny adjustments make all the difference in the world, and that's just in the very basic standing posture. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to do something like warrior pose, where you are sort of looking out and you have your arms at shoulder height, and you've got look, you've got your front leg bent and your back leg going back and you're upright. That is a pose that has other benefits. So it's sort of like a lovely cascading effect. So if you have good alignment in one area, it's going to encourage good alignment in another area, and that's going to optimize your entire system for the most beneficial outcome. And it works, yoga works like you're breathing, so you're taking up a good amount of oxygen, and you're using the full capacity of your lungs in a lot of the positions, because we don't use our lungs properly, like you said. And then you are maintaining a posture, so you're using your muscles. That makes your heart work a bit faster, or your heart works a little bit more. So that's good for your circulatory system. It's good for your respiratory system because it's having to get more oxygen in. It's great for strengthening your bones. So if you're thinking about, because you're bearing your own body weight in a way that you are taking it to all of your body parts, so that's good for your bones and your bone density. And then on a sort of metaphysical level, you are opening yourself up to the universe and all the possibilities that brings as well. And so you could look at it like you're taking in oxygen and you're expelling carbon dioxide, but then you could say, well, I'm taking in goodness and love and positivity, and I'm expelling tension and stress.
And it wasn't until you said that I was sitting there, and I don't know if you've watched me, but I was like slumping in my chair. I'm like straightening my back up, and then I think, right, drop your shoulder, and I'm like doing it because you do it automatically. You automatically just sort of sit in a chair, get comfy, and then you think, oh, my back's aching. And I'm an absolute, this isn't the most comfy of chairs, but I am an absolute fidget. Mm-hmm. And I know I don't stand straight, sit straight, to one side, and various things. But I was trying not to laugh when you were saying that, because I'm thinking I'm slumped in my chair, and that's you sit in your armchair and you just get comfy, but you're not comfy in a then I'm thinking like, back up straight and not too straight, and trying to find that comfy part and pushing it back in and out. It's amazing how all those positions. So and the breathing, now you were talking about breathing earlier on with you and I, because I mean there are so many benefits to yoga, like you said, the physical, the metaphysical, the mental benefits. I mean, it helps beat depression and stress, and all makes things more manageable.
Yes.
So breathing is a huge part of it. Now, is it a breathing exercise you were going to do with us?
Well, I mean, there's simple ones. So there's a belief system in yoga called pranayama, and prana is this energy system that you can't see, but it controls everything in our body. So just like we have a circulatory system and a respiratory system, we have this prana system, and it's about the flow of energy in your body. And it's all to do with points in your body that relate to chakras. So obviously, pagan people, we've heard of chakras, and we've got like the root chakra at the bottom and the crown chakra at the top. But in the yoga tradition, there are these points. If you visualize like a map of the tube, there's little tube stations going up and down your spine. So you've got your chakras going up, they're your main stations, and then you've got your sort of local stations, little ones, going up and down the spine, and those are called nadis. And there are 72,000 of these energy points in your body. And and then you've got this this energy system called Ida and Sushumna, and Sushumna's in the middle, and Pingala, and they're all to do with balance. So your right and your left side, your feminine, your masculine, your light and dark, and they control your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. So by engaging and fully utilizing your prana system, your pranayamic system, just like your respiratory system, you are opening up the flow of energy in your body to maximize your body's fullest potential. So pranayamic breathing is something you can do every day to stimulate and maintain and open up these channels of energy. And it's really good for you in terms of it's just breath work that helps, basically. And the simplest one that you can do is inhale through. In yoga, it's best if you inhale and exhale through your nose, but if you can't exhale through your nose, that's absolutely fine. But the first thing would be to inhale through your nose for a count of 3,
Right.
then retain the breath for 3, then exhale through your nose for a count of 4, and then you do it again, but the exhale is for 5, and then do it again, and the exhale is for 6. And that is a very basic introduction to pranayama breathing we could do.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because it's the retention of the breath that, when you're doing that, which has been found to have an amazing effects in terms of all the good stuff like intake of oxygen and maximizing the capillary flow and all sorts, but also in your immune system as well. So this retention of breath hasn't been fully explored by Western medicine, but it is really beneficial, and it's all to do with your prana energy system. So we could do that now, right now.
Yeah, please. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason that I say a count of 3 is because it's something that most people can do. So it depends on the size of your lungs, how much you can inhale and comfortably. So we'll just do it to a count of 3. So everybody just inhale and then exhale normally. And then inhale through your nose for 3, 2, 3. Retain the breath. 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 3. 1, 2, 3. Then inhale through your nose for 3. Retain the breath for 3. And then exhale for 4. And really contract your tummy to push out all the air. And then inhale for 3. Retain for 3. And then exhale for 5. Then inhale for 3. Retain for 3. And then exhale through your nose for 6. Really contract your tummy, bring your belly button to your spine and push out all the air. And then come back to your normal breathing. And that's something you can do if you're feeling momentarily overwhelmed or so
slows you down, doesn't it?
It slows you right down. And the retaining of the breath just helps you concentrate, and then encouraging your breath out. You're bringing out all of your breath, so you're taking out all of the toxins, all of the carbon dioxide, all of the stress, rather than just doing shallow inhale and exhale.
I was just thinking that as I was doing it, because it works for me to envisage what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose if you're breathing in deeply and you're holding it, that oxygen you've breathed in actually has a chance to go through all the capillaries and oxygenate your blood. That's what I was thinking. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And actually that deeper breathing out is all, I'm kind of breathing out in my head. I'm breathing out all the gunk, all those bits that are lurking, all that carbon dioxide that's going, now I'm going to sit here and annoy you for a bit. Do you know what I mean? And almost like a gremlin kind of thing. I was breathing it out, but it does slow you right down.
Yeah.
I can feel my heart rate has dropped from doing that.
Absolutely. And it's even good for your core muscles. You are using your core.
Yeah, I had to be a bit gentle.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. So just really gentle things, little and often, is so useful. And I love all that. And then in yoga, there's these things called mudras as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
like
mudras.
A mudra.
Oh, we love a mudra. Well, mudras are gestures or attitudes, and you can do them with your body, and you can do them with your face and your hands. And in my classes, as well as the warm up and the main poses, and we have a meditation, but I also like to talk about the roots of yoga and teach about what's beneficial and try and do a more sort of considered part of it. No, it's not just about having great abs or whatever, right? This is really important for your life,
yes.
For holistic things. So mudras are a way of positioning your body or hands to maximize or retain or expel energy in a way that you can enhance what you're doing. So your basic mudras, like this is a mudra, and everybody knows what this means. Like, you know, like, yeah, thumbs up. Is this a mudra? It connotes positivity. Everybody knows what it means, you know. So that is a mudra. So it's a gesture that has a meaning. And the reason it has a meaning, it could be the way it looks, but also you have all these pressure points on your hands. So I'm just talking about the hands now. So we might have heard of acupressure or acupuncture in Chinese medicine, you know, that sort of thing. So it's something that's been universally understood for a long time. And again, Western science is just catching up.
So behind, isn't it?
I know, we're rubbish, aren't we? So there's lots of lovely mudras. So in yoga, at the end of a class, I'll put my hands together, and this is prayer mudra, and it's simply a balance, and it's a way of putting all my fingers up, and then your yoga teacher, or I might say, this is namaste. So namaste just means the light in me sees the light in you. So it's just like, I'm nice, you're nice, we're lush, you know, like, really cool. So namaste, and then you do a little nod of respect, and that's called prayer mudra, and it's just about balance and you know, positivity. There's lots of other lovely mudras. I like to teach one. Oh, this is a funny one. So this is Apana Mudra. Okay, what does that look like?
Right. It's like a rock on one, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Well, Apana Mudra is all about the elimination of waste. So if you want to just, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm so annoyed, sit in Apana for a while, be less. Also, it's the pressure points you're using on your hands in Apana Mudra are good for the elimination of bodily waste. So it's good for your digestion. If you're feeling a bit sluggish or constipated, Apana Mudra is for that. So that's like, that has a physiological effect as well. There's another mudra which is called Yoni Mudra. Oh yes, where you put the fingertips of your hands together.
Yeah,
and that's good for, and then you sit with it in front of your reproductive area. And this one is good for, you can actually just sit in meditative posture. You could be doing it watching the telly, and sit in your Yoni Mudra like that in front of your area. And it's good for if you have bad periods or PMT or menopausal symptoms. It's nice for that. It'll help with those.
So does it help with energy? What's the, so what does it, you went slightly wafty when you explained the,
oh sorry sweetheart.
No, it's all right. No, it's fine. It's I watched it on mine, and we just lost you for a minute. And
yeah, no, sorry.
Because obviously what we're doing is a minute in front of what people are doing.
Right.
So,
okay.
So
what I lost you as well.
You just keep going, just like professionals. And Naomi's saying that people mistake this for the sign of the devil.
Yeah, totally.
But so this is the pressure points, and with your hands again, you're saying that's the pressure point. So is it kind of like, I'm thinking of reflexology.
Yeah.
So with the pressure points of your feet. So using your hands, that concentrates energy to, and making that shape touches the parts of the body to stimulate the energy to that particular area. And right,
everything correlates. So in pagan philosophy, you have your different energies like air, earth, air, water, fire, spirit. Well, it also works out in yogic philosophy as well. So your thumb represents fire.
Okay.
Your index finger is air.
Right.
Middle finger, I call it spirit. I don't, you could,
yeah.
The other. Yeah. Your ring finger is earth.
Yeah.
And your little finger is water.
Okay.
So that's in is it Ayurvedic medicine, where they have different correspondences to various parts of the body. So you can be very you can be a very watery character or a very fiery character. So if you were maybe too fiery, you wouldn't necessarily have mudras that were to do with your thumb. But I'm just guessing that. I don't know that. But that, so they have both. You could,
and if you were lacking in fire, you could do something, supposing you were wanting fire and spirit, something like that.
Yeah. No, I I mean, obviously we are.
That's very simple. Yeah.
Yeah, the sort of Blue Peter version, but it's kind of like.
And here's one I made earlier.
But
they're interesting. And
yeah,
you know, and the hand puppets as well. I think they were probably Vedic in origin.
Yeah,
the shadow puppets.
Yeah, wow, awesome. And then there's another mudra called this is Tattva Mudra.
Tattva, yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to refer to my notes. So this one is about truth. And if you incorporate this in a meditation, you're just going, I'm accepting my truth. Oh, bless you. And it's good for feeling grounded. It's good for feeling calm. It corresponds to your root chakra. And it's also good, and I don't know why this is, but it's good for allergies. If you have frequent coughs and colds and runny noses and hay fever, and I read that the practice of Tattva Mudra can control the amount of control the amount of phlegm in the body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there you go. So you know, you've got the whole thing from like spiritual down to phlegm. So and no, that's my camera. Knocked it off. 1 second.
Okay, well, that's interesting. That's so, and hand gestures as well are such a huge part of not. People use hand gestures when they don't speak.
Yeah, totally.
So I wonder if that is connected. That, you know, we're kind of using. You know, it's all sorts of possibilities there, isn't there?
There's a mudra called. Oh, sorry, Claire.
No, go on.
No, just thinking about hand gestures when you speak. There's one called Hakini Mudra, and you may have seen this on like late night question time or you know,
yes.
where people are trying to sort of bring their thoughts in so they can communicate effectively and really think about what they're saying. And they're doing this, and I don't know whether it's supposed to really help you you know, be articulate and convey a certain point of view, to persuade. And it's you can use it in people might learn it in management courses or you know, public speaking. It's not working very well for me at the moment.
You're fine. But they do, that's kind of a thinking pose as well, isn't it?
Yes. I'm going to expound on something.
The other one I've noticed is that lots of presenters hold their hands, when they're talking, they hold their hands in front of them like this. And I don't know if that's a fidgeting thing, because otherwise, I mean, my hands are all up in the air and you don't realise until you're watching yourself, you're filming yourself and you're watching yourself like this, that, you know, I'm like this and I'm like this and I, you know.
Oh yeah, that's why I put my hair up, because I knew it was just like, oh, my hair.
I was thinking that earlier on because you've got lots of hair. I was thinking that earlier on, I must start thinking about tying my hair back, because I end up doing, and my fringe needs cutting.
I do.
But if you've seen like weather presenters or whatever, they hold their hands like this in front of them. So they're kind of like this. They stand like this. I don't know if you've noticed. Probably so that they don't flail them around. But I wonder if there's some philosophy behind that. That would be interesting.
You could write a book on that. And then there's one more mudra I want to teach you, and we can do it together if you like. Oh. So it's called Ganesha Mudra, and Ganesha is the Hindu god, the elephant god, and he's all about.
Janine's joined back in there. She's got a beautiful Ganesh.
Oh, lovely.
Loves elephants.
Oh,
she was an elephant keeper at one stage.
Oh, that's amazing.
An amazing job. Just talking about your name. Anyway, sorry,
So Ganesh is all about, he's the elephant god, and he's all about obstacles and how to overcome obstacles in your life. And an elephant is a pretty big obstacle. Like if you had an elephant in front of you, you know, you'd know about it, wouldn't you? So if you have a problem, oh, excuse me, my neighbours have started banging. Never mind, it's an obstacle. We can overcome it.
It's an obstacle. Naomi has just put verbal attack. There's a question mark. And maybe that's about the one I've done.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
maybe.
and of course you get the elephant in the room, don't you? Which is the thing you don't talk about.
Yes, that's true. Anyway,
Sorry.
so this mudra is about overcoming difficult times. I'm going to really be cross with my neighbours. So sorry. Anyway.
You can't. You can just about hear it. Don't worry, darling.
All right. That's all right. Okay. So you start off with your hands in prayer mudra.
Yeah.
And then you swivel your palms together. And then you pull your hands back and grasp your hands. Okay. So your thumb on top and the bottom. And then you put your hands in front of your heart. Okay. Because often the obstacles that we have are of our own making. So it's a reminder to say that, you know, this is something you're going to get through, but, you know, it's down to you to put the work in. Okay. So then what you do, you inhale deeply. So if we can just do that, inhale deeply and then relax your hands. And on the exhale, you pull your hands together, like really pull them and really exert pressure, pulling your arms. And then when you inhale, relax your hands. And then exhale, pull them apart. And then inhale and relax. And then exhale, pull them and pressure. And you do that 6 times, and then you can reverse the lock. So you have it on the other way. And then you relax your hands. And then inhale, relax, and exhale, pull them apart. And then inhale, relax. And exhale, pull them apart. And that's so it's good for just taking out a bit of tension. It's good for releasing the bonds in your head that are saying this is an obstacle. And it's a nice way to open up your chest and your shoulders so that you're more ready for action to get rid of that obstacle in your mind. So that is Ganesha Mudra, and you can combine it with your breathing, and it's quite good for sort of really optimizing your potential to overcome a problem.
I was thinking that as I was doing it, and I've done that with you on one of the ones I've done with you, and it's kind of very cathartic as well to tense up and then release as well, isn't it? And
absolutely,
I should think there's a lot of spirituality around the elephant. Because Neen says I've been here, signals a bit pants. Ganesh has always cropped up through my life.
Oh, that's
so and because Neen worked at a zoo with the elephants.
Awesome.
Slightly jealous, but but that it is tense and release, but it's making you aware of how tense you are and releasing, which I think we hold on to it. We hold on to tense. I know I do. I think, no, I'm fine. I'm dealing with this. But actually, some part of my body's going, you know, like, and I get, I can be fine, but I get psoriasis in my hairline.
Okay.
And I know when I'm holding on to it, because I'll be like, no, I'm fine. It's chilled. I'm fine. Everything's good. And then I'll be like, with my hair, and I think, no, actually, I'm not. Just go away and chill. So. Well, how can people get hold of you if they are interested in online yoga?
Oh, well, that's great. So I have a Facebook, obviously. It's called Happy Place Yoga 108.
Happy Place Yoga. That's a lovely thing. And you do online classes at various times during the week, don't you?
Absolutely. And then so Happy Place Yoga 108 on Facebook, 108 because it's a spiritual number. So
what's the spiritual number for it?
Well, 108 is one of, if you believe in numerology, 108 is one of those universal numbers that is said to have power and energy, and a lot of chanting that goes on in yoga. When they say Om, they say Om 108 times because it's one of those universally bent powerful numbers. So I just thought, well, I'll have that, you know,
my list of things to explore.
And I'm on Instagram, Happy Place Yoga 108, and also my email is happyplaceyoga108@gmail.com. And
Okay.
I'm currently building a website, so I'll let you know when that's there.
Yeah, if you put those details in the comments when you get a chance afterwards, and then anybody that's interested can have a look and catch up with you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. I've learned so much, and I'm sort of sitting here stretching my hands and releasing and all sorts. And I think there's so many connections between body and mind that we're only just starting to realize that some people have known for millennia, you know, and you in the Western world, you go through it and you get kind of drip fed that it's money and material things, and we've taken so many decades to unlearn all that bullshit, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's conditioned into us. And on the flip side, that we are kind of lucky to be living in the first world, and we have all these amazing things. But on the other side, we have lost a lot of our spiritual connections. And being a pagan and yoga, to me, go hand in hand. Because that's how I manifest my energy, my energy work. And that's why I want to bring it to people, and people who have been previously disenfranchised with the status quo, like who might not have gone to a yoga class because they don't like leaving the house, or maybe they have a disability or a social anxiety. The online classes, while there was something I'd always intended to do for those people, and now I'm just doing online classes after lockdown.
But they're working.
They are, and I'm going to keep the online classes going on, because some people can't leave the house because they've got transport issues or mobility issues or
littles or
and I want to bring yoga
or something.
Absolutely. And I want to bring yoga to everybody, because everybody deserves yoga, and it doesn't matter what your financial situation is, or you know, whether you've got children jumping all over you during a class, you know,
which we've seen, haven't we?
We've seen, absolutely.
And the children joined in, didn't they?
They did. And as long as, you know, people, if it's a one-to-one, you know, that's fine. But if it's not a one-to-one, then just put your mute button on. Happy days. So,
happy days. Happy place yoga. Happy days. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Laura. It's been fascinating. I've really enjoyed chatting to you about it and making some connections and things in my head. So next week, we've got a man. We've got a man coming on Walking with My Goddess.
That's right.
You know him, and I was thinking the other week I was doing something, and obviously I'm goddess based, and that we kind of know that, but I was thinking I don't actually know anything about the gods, and I'm thinking, do they have a sort of, like we have maiden, lover, mother, crown kind of thing? Do the gods have that? Do they have this kind of thing? And I asked our good friend Tony.
Nice.
So next week, Tony's coming on and talking about the gods, and we'll probably end up talking about music because it's Tony. But but next week it will all be about the gods, and I don't know what to expect there. I have no idea what he's going to. I don't know much about them, so that's next week. But again, if you want to catch hold of Laura, it's Happy Place Yoga 108, and you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and her email is happyplaceyoga
108 at gmail.com.
At Google Mail.
Gmail.
Happy Place Yoga 108 at gmail.com. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.